Hey there, this is Niki Rowland for Spiegel Mom Scraps, and today I'm making a layout using a whole load of different sequins, and I'm also going to be using some Shimmerz paints as well. So the idea behind the layout today is to create a rainbow in slightly alternative colours, so not necessarily traditional rainbow colours, with a large brush. I was going to actually just do stripes to begin with, and then I decided to do a rainbow. So this is a rainbow shape, So I am starting off by creating my painted rainbow using Shimmerz products. So that first colour was the gold one. It's an Inklingz minor 49er, so just added that one there. Then the second one is pink champagne, that's a Creameez. This third one is a Creameez as well, and it's called One Hot Mama. That's a really intense hot pink. So I've gone gold, light pink, hot pink, and now I'm planning to use a lightish turquoise, even though that seems pretty dark, and then I was going to navy. Now my navy doesn't come out very well, so the turquoise colour is called Blue Lagoon, it's an Inklingz, but the blue one is called Witch's Blue, and it's a Creameez, but for some reason it's quite a light colour. It doesn't come out particularly intensely like some of the others do. So I had to put that to one side and use a different product. It's called a Shimmerz paint, a Shimmerz original that's just a mixed paint. It's all ready to go. You just dip your paintbrush in and go, and that gave me the colour I was looking for on this occasion. I do love that Witch's Blue navy, but it wasn't quite right for this project, so that's why I ended up going with the Shimmerz paint. It was called Teal, The End of Time, and you saw that I added some water so the colours bled into each other a little bit. I was initially going for very separated stripes, but actually I really liked the effect that the two had at the end that bled together, so I added some water and made them bleed together a little bit more. And now what I'm doing is I waited until the paints were dry, or mostly dry, and then I went through and I've added a whole load of splatters. I've gone splatter crazy over the same colours over each of the stripes, the reason I waited for it to be dry was so that the splatters don't bleed into the paint. The paint is now a solid colour because it's dry, so therefore the splatters will sit on top, and therefore you can see them a lot better. If I'd applied them when they were wet, they would have bled together and you wouldn't have been able to see the splatters as well on the painted stripes. So I've gone splatter crazy there, and have just gone tone on tone over the top of my rainbow stripes. Okay, a little tidy up there. I use my Shimmerz paints mostly with just a piece of packaging. I have a small craft sheet as well, and I put them onto this piece of packaging and use that, or a craft sheet, and I use that to just mix my paints together or make them runnier so that they're splattering, that kind of thing. Okay, so now moving on, I'm using a cloud template that I had there that was actually for something else. It's only paper, so it wasn't good enough to be used, so I've drawn around that and cut it out from cardstock, and I'm going to mount that onto a piece of patterned paper. So I want I'm just now adding some white splatters, so I thought that I would wait until these splatters dry a little bit and then go crazy with the whites. So that's what I've done there, and I'm going to literally set that aside to dry for a while now. I could dry it with the heat tool, but I don't need to because I've got this cloud to make and some stitching to do. So that background is just going to sit there and dry whilst I make this cloud. So I've cut that cloud out of the template. Now I'm just distressing the edges with a pair of scissors, and then I'm going to mount that onto a piece of pattern paper and sew around the edge. So there's the paper that I'm using. It's from Crepe Paper All Heart, and it goes nicely with the colours that I've chosen for the rainbow. It's the pink with navy blue spots. It's really, really cute. So I've stuck that onto a larger piece of that crepe paper and I'm now just piercing holes all around the edge with my paper piercer. I'm going quite far apart. I'm going to go for chunky stitches, so I'm going to go for a dark grey colour. I'm looking for navy. Didn't have any luck. I was at Crop today, so I asked around and nobody seemed to have any navy, so I've of course added some straight away to my Amazon basket, and that will be here within a couple of days. I'm in the end I settled on dark grey, and dark grey works really well actually. It's the perfect colour. So I'm just going to use 6 strands of that dark grey thread to sew around the edge of my cloud. I've made the holes in the pattern paper rather than through the cloud itself, and now I'm only sewing through the pattern paper. It's a lot easier to sew, and also it doesn't mean that when I put my paper piercer through the cardstock, which is quite thick, that it doesn't kind of crease at each hole. So this is a really lovely way to do that. So, and I just sewed around the edge. I kept my stitches quite far apart, and I used chunky thread so that I had a really good outline around that cloud. So there you go, that's the cloud done. It looks really lovely. I was happy with the way that turned out. Now I have these 4 photos, and I've tried to get them all in on this one layout, and I've tried many different ways. You can see me really wrestling with this. I'm trying really hard on all different formations to see if I can fit all 4 photos on this page, and the answer is no, I can't. They just didn't look right, I wasn't feeling it. So in the end I decided just to go for 2 photos, and that's fine. The other 2 are exactly the same type of photos as the others. I probably don't need them, so yes, just settled on the 2 photos, and I'll save the 2 for another day. Okay, so I'm now just going through my crepe paper all heart products and seeing what I can use to go with this layout. Now the background is pretty busy already, so I probably won't add too much in the way of embellishment. However, I do want to add a paper layer or 2 around the edge of my photos, and I will also want to add some embellishments too, because I do love my embellishments. So I've got a journaling card there that I'm adding to that photo, and another one to that photo, so they just give a little bit of extra colour and separation between the photo and the very crazy rainbow background. So they are just 2 pre-purchased journaling cards. They're from the Hip Kit Club, and I've just got those in my stash with that month's kit, and they were perfect to mount my photos on, so just doing that there. And then you can see how I'm kind of tucking them in behind the cloud. I wondered about whether the photo should go on top of the cloud or under it or away from it, but in the end I settle on just tucking them slightly behind the cloud. I don't cover up anything in the photo that is a problem, so just the edge of my table really. And then I've added one of those crepe paper frames behind the photo as well. I've got lots and lots of those, so I thought I could use one here. I went for the light pink. I'm aiming mostly for a tone on tone embellishment idea. I don't really achieve it, to be honest, because I kind of go a bit crazy on the rainbow. But yes, I'm trying to just work out where my whole layout will go. So I want to figure out my photo placement, the cloud placement, and I particularly want to get in my title, just so that I can then add my sequins later, as they're going to be a big feature on this layout, or they're going to go over the stripes, the rainbow stripes. But I want to, obviously once sequins are stuck down, it's quite hard to then stick things on top of sequins, so I wanted to make sure that I had all the main elements of my layout in place, and then I can add the sequins around all of those elements. So I'm going for my title is going to be Rainbows and Sprinkles. She has a rainbow layer cake, and it's covered in rainbow sprinkles. So Rainbows and Sprinkles was the perfect title. You'll see there that I put that sticker on the background, and then it stuck. Normally the things don't stick that brilliantly, so I can normally prise them off easily, but that one really stuck, so I had to do some repair work there. So as I say, just getting the bare bones of my layout stuck in place. Title's down, the photos are stuck in place, that frame is stuck behind the photos, and now the cloud is going in place too. So now pretty much I am ready to add everything else to my layout. So I want to embellish the rainbow. Obviously I'm going to do sequins in tone on tone over the rainbow stripes, but I still want to add other things up there too. So I'm just going to kind of see how it goes. So yeah, just getting all of those last bits stuck in place before I go absolutely crazy with sequins. So here is the start of the crazy sequin application. I've started off with the first set of gold sequins. These ones are called Glam, and they have hexagons, open hexagons, glittery round sequins, all sorts of things in there, in that little kit, and that's a really beautiful, pretty, glittery mix. So I've literally taken a pinch out of the packet and sprinkled them over the row of, the coloured strip there, the gold one. And now I'm just using my glossy accents and my pokey tool to get all of those sequins stuck in place. So you've heard me say this many times before, but I put a dab of glossy accents on the end of my pokey tool, and that enables me to pick up each sequin and move it out of the way, apply a tiny bit of glossy accents to the paper, and then I can put my sequin back on top of it. I'm pretty quick at sticking sequins down, even though it looks terrible to have to stick all of those down individually, but it really isn't. It doesn't take me long at all. So I'm now moving on to the light pink, and I'm going for a set called Starry Dreams. Now this is a really pretty set of sequins. It contains lots of little teeny tiny bits and pieces, hearts and stars, and just beautiful, lots of beautiful things. It also has some light pinks, but it also has some light blue. So once I'd sprinkled my sequins in place, I pulled out the light blue ones because they didn't really work with the whole tone on tone thing that I've got going on. And I decided not to make you watch me stick all of them down, even though I'm pretty quick. But I figured that might not be great fun to watch, so I turned off the camera while I stuck them all down. I did the 2 pink rows, and now I'm going back to the 2 green rows. For the pink ones, I've also added some sequins from the Rose Gold Glory. I didn't use any of the Rose Gold glittery ones, but I did use the peachy coloured ones in there over on the light pink strip. And then I've used, on the pink strip, I've used one called Sweet Things, I think. And then we also have Happy Vibes set, and we also have Ride the Tide. They'll all be listed below, and I just tried to go for kind of colour on colour. So Ride the Tide is the light turquoise, and then Happy Vibe, is it Happy Vibes? Sweet Thing, sorry, is the dark blue one. It has loads of pink in it, but it also has these fabulous dark blue navy sequins. Great mix there. So that is what I'm doing for the dark blue strip. Again, just sprinkling them on. I love the way sequins fall when you sprinkle them, and I like to keep that natural look rather than place each one individually. So I like to kind of sprinkle them on. Obviously there will be the odd one or two that fall in the wrong place and have to be moved, but generally I like the randomness that occurs, the natural look that occurs when you just sprinkle sequins on into an area, and then I try to glue them on in the place that they have fallen. And I say I do that with my pokey tool and glossy accents. For the Sweet Things dark blue mix, I had to take out some of the pink ones, the pink flowers that fell as I sprinkled. So I just pulled those ones out because that didn't really go. I could have added them to the light pink section, but I didn't on this occasion. I just scooped them up and put them back in the packet. So yeah, I'm just getting all of these stuck in place now. Okay, so that's all of my sequins stuck in place over the rainbow, and now I'm going through and adding some messy kind of scribbles to give the rainbow some extra definition. I'm using a quite thick black gel pen, and I'm just going through and just adding some little scribbles and dots and doodles, and just generally to make the rainbow stand out a bit more, have a bit of a more dramatic look, to pop out a bit more. It was just a little bit, it wasn't quite perfect as far as I was concerned. I felt like it needed some extra bits, and then I'm just going through and adding some Indian ink, so really dark paint black paint splatters. This was really stupid. I shouldn't have done that at this point. I haven't finished embellishing my layout, and Indian ink takes a really long time to dry and is terrible when you smudge it, because it goes everywhere. It goes really everywhere because it's so black you can see it. It's not something you can then wipe off. Once it's there, it's there. So this is a really stupid thing for me to do. What I should have done was, once I'd done the mistake and added the Indian ink, I should have then left my layout to dry, come back to it the next day and finished it off then, but I didn't. I thought I would carry on, and I did manage somehow to finish the rest of the layout without smudging that black Indian ink. So well done me. I'm very impressed with that skill. I knew that as soon as I did that, it was such a mistake, I would definitely smudge it. So anyway, luckily I didn't, so yay me. So I'm just very carefully adding embellishments to my layout. So I'm going through some a hip kit. It's from May, I think May 2019, and I'm pulling out some bits from the crepe paper all heart collection that was in that kit. So those 2 tassels and the stickers and that glittery silver heart there as well. That's all from the all heart collection by Crepe Paper. So just getting that tangle of thread stuck in place there as well. And there's also some ephemera from the Hip Kit Club exclusive pack as well. So I've just, that little teacup there was perfect with this layout, so I added that one. And then those stars, I've fussy cut out some of those stars from one of the sheets of all heart pattern paper, and I wanted to kind of layer those over the rainbow and also bring them through into my embellishment clusters as well. So that's what I'm just doing there. They're already stuck in place, and now I'm adding those 2 tassels. They're again from the Crepe Paper all heart collection. They have gold thread around the tassels themselves and gold jump rings. Well, these have bothered me because the Crepe Paper all heart collection has lots of silver in, not gold, so I question why those embellishments have gold bits when everything else in the collection has silver. And quite often I've been cutting this gold off because I didn't want gold and silver to go together. However, I have gold on this layout, so I feel that it works. I'm happy with the mixture of gold and silver. Sometimes if I didn't have the gold on this layout at all, then I wouldn't want to introduce the other colour of gold, like the yellow colour. The silver works really well with this colour palette other than the gold, so therefore I just generally try to stick to one or the other and not introduce the other one. I'm a bit obsessed with this pom-pom trim at the moment, and I really wanted to get some pom-poms onto this layout, and I had some pink and I tried that over the hot pink strip, but it wasn't wide enough. My pom-poms were huge, so they took up the whole thing. The little bit of yellow there looks quite cute, and then I had those giant navy blue ones that I tried to attach to the top of the rainbow, but they were just too huge and they didn't work. So I have only got a few pom-poms in on this layout, but yeah, they're great fun, aren't they? They're such a great addition to layouts. They're so tactile and give this whole extra feeling, texture. Anyway, so hence the pom-poms, my new love of pom-poms. And I'm just going through now and adding in some final details. So I've just gone through the all heart sticker book that we got in the hip kit, and I'm adding little bits and pieces, so anything that works with the layout. Also I just went and stitched through my word rainbows. Now how I did that without smudging my black wet Indian ink, I do not know. However, I did somehow achieve that. So yay me again. I'm just writing in my journaling. I also stitched through the pom-pom trim too, because I'd only got it stuck down with tape and I was worried that it would move. So I've stitched down that, and I've stitched through the word rainbows so that they don't come off later, because they have a habit of falling off. Just handwriting in my journaling, and that is me done. So thank you so much for joining me today with this kind of epic rainbow millions of sequins style layout for Speigel Mom Scraps. Don't forget that if you place an order via the Speigel Mom Scraps store, then use code Niki15 for a 15% discount off your order. Okay, so thank you so much for joining me. That was Niki Rowland for Speigel Mom Scraps.